So Netflix are actually able to go on and make a decent movie. Now, this movie is going to be called The Last Summer, which is a fairly good Netflix teen like rom-com. Now, I never expected it to be actually good. Now, there's going to be movies out there called like The Kissing Booth, maybe The Perfect Date, To All of the Boys I've Loved Before. Those are alright movies. Like The Perfect Date is probably the best out of all of them. The Kissing Booth is pretty bad. It's just not good at all, not relatable. I didn't like it. And then, you have To All of the Boys I Loved Before, which is not very relatable again. But for this movie, it is very much relatable in the sense, that it's going to be teens who are just finishing high school, going on to college, figuring out everything they want to do. So I guess with all of that kind of being said, let's get into it and kind of go over the whole video essay or the whole movie in general. Now, the main male character is going to be called Griffin, who's going to be Archie Andrews or whatever from Riverdale, who's going to be played by KJ Apa. Now, I don't know way too much stuff about him. I know he's been in Riverdale. That's like the only thing I actually know him from. Now, I do believe he's like the most well-known, but he's the most well-known from that actual TV show. Now, going over the whole character, it's going to be called Griffin. Now, Griffin is a character he's going to be going to like a law school called Columbia. Now, he doesn't want to go there, but his dad is going to be forcing him to kind of go there. He wants to go to Berkeley, which is going to be a music school. Now, I never really heard of these schools. I've, heard of NYU, which I'll lead on to in a minute. But going on to Griffin doesn't want to go there, so at the end of the movie, he does eventually go on. He does go to Berkeley, which is going to be, as I said, a music school, and he's not going to be forced to go to Columbia, and his dad is not going to be helping him out by paying him, or just kind of paying for it in general. Now look, as an Irish person, I've never really heard of these schools. Now, to be honest, all the SoundCloud kind of people would probably want to go there. They'd probably want to go to Berkeley and kind of, study or whatever, I'm assuming anyway. That was kind of a joke, not too sure how good it was. But either way, going on to it, we're going to be going on to Phoebe next, which is going to be the actual love interest for Griffin. Now, for Phoebe, she wants to go to NYU and do like film studies. Now, she's also doing a movie or like a documentary. Now, she doesn't have enough money to actually go to NYU, so that's why she's doing this kind of movie. Now, I do believe by the end of the movie, she does get enough money to go. And, as I said, she is like the main actual, like I guess, love interest for the movie for Griffin. Now, Griffin's story compared to Brooks from The Perfect Date is actually somewhat believable and relatable. Now, Brooks from The Perfect Date, he goes on, he makes kind of like an app to go on and do the whole movie, which it's not very relatable to make an app to do something. It just doesn't really seem relatable. Whereas Griffin is going to be going on, he wants to do music school where he's not being allowed to go to that certain school, which I do believe is actually really relatable to someone who does finish like high school to go to like a college, like they're being forced to go to a college. It's kind of like in a sense where if you're in school, you're kind of made to do a subject, like those choice subjects. You're made to do one of those subjects when you don't want to, like your parents kind of like, I guess, force it on you. Now over here, that would kind of be business, I guess, like business studies, which is not going to be it's not going to be something a lot of people enjoy or a lot of people want to do, but their parents might kind of force it on them, which, it is very relatable. Now, Griffin as a whole, I was actually very happy with. Now, it could have been actual, like his character, his whole writing, it could have been the actor, KJ Apa. I don't really know what it was about him, but I did prefer him over Phoebe. Now, Phoebe was still good, she was great and everything, but she wasn't my favorite. Like, it could have been the actress, it could have been writing, I'm not too sure, but I did prefer Griffin a whole lot more. Now, I just don't really know, it was probably the writing or something, I just don't really know. I guess it's going to be kind of down to preference of which one of them you did prefer. Now, it could be someone else, it could be someone completely different, it could be maybe Mason, Alec, Erin, Ricky, it could be anyone else, but to be honest, Griffin was probably one of my favorite characters in the movie. Now, that big kind of twist you get in every teen rom-com, towards like the end of the second act, so about an hour and a half in, it's going to be in this one very different. It's not going to be in Griffin's hands to actually do it, it's going to be his dad who actually goes on and causes it. He goes on, he cheats, he does all of that with Phoebe's mom, even though he didn't know it. Now, Griffin did know about it, but he didn't tell Phoebe about it, which I guess is kind of him being in the wrong, but in a sense, it's not really his fault, it's his family's fault or his dad's fault to kind of like narrow it down, which is something is going to be kind of very relatable. In a sense, it is actually relatable to real life. Now, for Brooks in like The Perfect Date, I can't really remember what happens. I'm pretty sure he goes way too far when he's giving out to the main female lead, which I just can't remember her name. But either way, I'm trying to say this is going to be very relatable towards like someone in real life, which is something I actually do like a lot. Now, going on to more characters, we're going to be going over Mason next. Now, Mason is going to be the best friend. He is kind of like Murph from The Perfect Date, but in my opinion, Murph was kind of better than Mason. Now, Mason does set up the whole movie in a sense. He introduces you know, like I'm going to call him Archie, but he introduces KG Appa's character, Griffin or whatever, to Phoebe. Now that's kind of like sparking everything in the movie to happen. He introduces her and him, you know, together to be able to go on and do like an interview for the documentary, which kind of sparks everything, like I said. Now him overall, his character, wasn't a massive fan of. Maybe we just didn't get a lot of development. He just wasn't great at all. I just personally didn't find him great. I thought he was kind of iffy. Murph was much better from The Perfect Date. I just want to say overall Murph was a lot better and Mason was kind of iffy in my opinion. Now for one of the most uninteresting characters, it is going to be Alec. Alec overall, I just didn't find him interesting. He had no real development, to be honest. Now there was him and Erin, which I'll go over when we go on to Erin like later on or whatever. Now him and Paige was just so bad. She was kind of like Shelby from The Perfect Date, but to be honest, even Shelby had better development. She was even more likable. Like Paige, she had no development at all. We saw her maybe for like at most 5 scenes. Like overall for, you know, her, I forgot her name for a second, for Paige, it is just really bad. Didn't like her character, no development. I thought she could have been a lot better, and overall just wasn't a massive fan of either character. Now, one of my favorite characters is going to be Foster. Now, Foster appears to be this kind of jock type character who goes around having sex with everybody and bragging about it, to being this person who is technically kind of like a jock, but he never actually had sex with anybody. So he went on, made a list in this movie, got a load of shit for that, and then towards like the end of the movie, you can tell he's going to be going on. He's doing something with, I think, is going to be someone's mom, but I'm not too sure about. I really don't know if it's someone's mom, but either way, he does actually have sex at like the end of the movie. We don't see any of it. Obviously it's going to be like, you know, rated 12s or 15s. We don't see any of it, but we do know exactly what actually happened. We have a fair idea as to what happened. Also Foster, like around the end of the movie, him opening up to Alec about everything, about the whole him lying about it, I thought that was actually great character development. I thought it was probably just, you know, one of the best. I enjoyed it a lot. I think it was actually very relatable for someone in high school to do that. I do believe there's going to be people in nearly every school who go on and do all of that. I do strongly believe that anyway. So going on to another character, we're going to be going on to Audrey. Now for Audrey, she wasn't an amazing character. I kind of thought she was kind of iffy overall. Now she didn't have much to do other than being the babysitter and then, you know, going on to college. Now babysitting actually did help influence her college decision, which I thought was actually great. Now to be honest, I did find myself kind of wanting to skip over scenes for her. I thought they were kind of iffy. Overall, she just wasn't a great character. Now I would have much rathered if she went on and done more development, but I guess you could argue her going down her own path without college is going to be something that's going to be very relatable as well to like people in everyday life. Now to be honest, I never went on and skipped a scene, but I did kind of, you know, want to skip it really badly. I always kind of felt like, you know, it wasn't very interesting. Now the reason I actually didn't skip it or whatever is because I'm doing this video and wanted to do it properly. So I guess going on to the next character, it's going to be going on to Reese and Chad. Now honestly, these are probably one of my favorite characters, or two of the favorite characters in the movie. Now they go from being people who are wearing suits in like a bar or somewhere to going to, I'm pretty sure, to get food, and now they actually do get served drinks, which, you know, they're mistaken to be actually working in a firm. Now they do go with it. They do go on and say, you know, they're working there, they're helping out, you know, they're only 18. Eventually they actually go on, they have like, I guess, 2 girlfriends, or they both kind of get laid or something. Now they'd go on, they do all of that, and then eventually I believe Chad had more development. He went on and basically, I believe anyway, at the end of the movie or something along those lines, she finds out he's 18, was waiting for him to tell her like he was 18. And eventually he goes on and meets her dad, where she went on and said she wanted to see him squirm, which is going to be very, I guess, awkward if you're in that kind of sense. Now towards like the end of it, we see that he's going to be going on a trip with her and her family, or staying somewhere, which, you know, is going to be very interesting. He's college, like, you know, soon enough. He's college maybe within, you know, I'm pretty sure a few weeks anyway. And then for Reese, we don't get way too much development for him. Like for Chad, we got so much more development, which I think was actually better. Now obviously that's going to be very unrelatable, to be able to fake your way to working in a firm, to going out with people who then, you know, say you're 18 or whatever, have been working there. Honestly, I just can't believe how fake and how unreal it is. Now you could argue it goes on and kind of furthers like the storytelling, which I guess is kind of, it makes sense for it to be a movie. It's not going to be always like 100% real or realistic. You know, it wasn't realistic, but overall I did enjoy it quite a lot. I would have liked if it was more relatable. To be honest, now you could kind of say it is relatable. It's very unlikely, but it is relatable, which is something I guess you can kind of accept. But overall, I just wasn't really a massive fan of it. Just really wasn't. Now next is going to be going on to Aaron and Ricky. Now Ricky is going to be played by, I believe, Tyler Posey, and then I believe Aaron's going to be played by Halliston Sage, which I believe she's on The Orville, and then Tyler Posey is from, I believe, Teen Wolf, which I watched all of. Not lying, pretty good show. I know there's going to be someone out there who actually watched it. I'm just not going to say names, but either way, it's a friend actually, but either way going on to it, it was a really kind of like interesting development for both of them. Now, Erin is someone who breaks up with Alec at the start of the movie to go on and kind of, be friends or whatever for the summer. Then she runs into Ricky at a baseball game where he falls on her, and then they go out for a while. Then he's actually cheating on her with an ex-girlfriend who is living with him, which I do believe is very, very strange, very kind of relatable. I haven't never really been in that situation, but I do believe it's relatable. And then it ends between them, and then Aaron and Alec actually do get back together at the end of the movie, which it's so predictable. It was just, I don't even want to say it's relatable, it's very predictable. Like, it was easy to tell from the first scene that was going to happen. It was just way too easy to kind of tell overall. Now, to be honest, overall for this movie, I enjoyed it quite a lot. Now, there would have been like maybe a few things I would have changed. I'm not going to mention them, but there would have been a few things I would have changed. Now, I was very happy with this movie. I do think it was a lot better than The Kissing Booth, which, I'm just not even going to mention how bad it was compared to this. There was like The Perfect Date, which is probably the second best. Now, to be honest, I haven't seen one of the movies, which I don't really remember the name of. Now, I'm not going to mention anything else. There's like the movie To All the Boys I've Loved Before. That was an alright movie, it wasn't very relatable. Now, I believe for two of those movies, there's going to be the same male actor. I don't know his name, but that's not something you kind of want to do. I was very happy they kind of changed up the main actor for the lead, for Griffin's actor, KG Apa. Very happy they done that. I didn't actually expect them to do that, but I was very happy. So, overall, I would definitely kind of recommend this movie to anyone who's watching a teen rom-com. Definitely the best one, recommended 100%. And, with all of that being said, I kind of hope you went on to enjoy the video. So this video is going to be a very long video. I didn't really expect it to go on as long as it kind of did. Now, I will be doing more videos in the future going on to stuff like this. I don't really know what it'll be on or when I'll upload those videos or whatever. So, if you want to see more kind of video essay type videos, you can subscribe if you went on to enjoy. Leave a like if you want to see more videos. Comment down below if you did enjoy the video or did enjoy the movie or you didn't enjoy it. I kind of want to know about that. And, with all of that being said, I hope you have a great day and, goodbye.